then that's what we've got a program they can qualify for to help them out.
Exactly.
I think we need to have.
You know, I think every child should have it.
But if it happened in the middle of the school year, though.
But I think we need
It can
to
still be
talk
changed.
about
It can
it
still be.
Right.
and decide what.
And I'm not, Mr. McLaughlin, I think you know more than I do on this. Are there multiple families that owe the district more than $500? Is that what your
My
information?
understanding is yes,
And that
there are
information came
3.
from,
from a cafeteria employee that was directed to call her supervisor.
okay, and 3 families?
Yes. One of them is $800.
I think you just do a lunch card as a punch.
But it's not just food service. My last check at the high school, and granted, this is old information that I'm sure it's not gotten better, the high school was at least 4 digits in student debts. And I'm talking $25,000, $30,000 when you count computers, when you count textbooks, those kind of things. And we don't need to bankroll them. Now, I'm sorry if I'm putting my colleagues under the gun, but I just think this needs to be done. I think it needs to be done in time for the beginning of the next school year.
Well, we have time before then. And I don't think it needs to be a decision made this evening.
Well, what I would suggest, I can add it to my list of board discussion,
That's fine.
study session
We'll do
topics.
it that way.
Well, there's a
Because again, I think
discussion
we
on the
need-
floor. I'd call the question, please.
I'm not prepared to vote for it.
Well, then vote no. There's a motion that's been made and seconded.
Well, I think
So then you have to,
I'm confused though. Can we?
if you called the question, then we have to vote on the call to question.
Well,
That's right.
There's no
I
more
don't-
discussion. It
There's-
basically ends in-
Otherwise, by Robert's rules, you go back to the original motion, and you either have to vote on the motion, or somebody, hint, makes the motion to table it.
I make a motion to table this one.
Thank you.
I support.
Thank you. So if you could,
But it's clearly something that needs to be looked into.
I won't be
I
here,
agree.
so it doesn't matter.
I agree.
just need to discuss it. And no knee-jerk reactions,
Because I wasn't aware that there was a
because it is an
problem.
issue.
Well, let's find
We
out.
need to
Let's
see
get.
how
Can we
much
vote on the
of a
table,
issue.
please?
We need to vote on the table.
The table.
Motion.
All right, so the motion that is here now is, are we tabling this
That's
until
correct.
further discussion?
That's correct.
And so, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The only other thing I have, Madam Chairman, I stepped into the hall and had a conversation with the board's attorney, and he advised me that I'm on solid ground with this statement, and he asked that I have you, the board president, basically remind him of this. I'd like to know the date that it would need to become effective, but I'm notifying my colleagues and the public tonight that it is my intention to resign from the Board of Education this fall so that my seat may be filled by the voters, not by my colleagues on the board. If you would please have the attorney notify me when the effective date of that resignation needs to be, please. Thank you. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Can I just restate that? I want to make sure I have this right. That you intend to resign this fall, and you need to know the effective date of your resignation.
When it needs
When
to
it
be
needs to be.
effective
Be
to
notified.
accommodate it going on the ballot as a
For
third
November?
vacancy for a
Okay,
partial term.
gotcha.
Thank you.
Actually, it would have to be.
Probably it's August, late August, early September.
That's what he thought. He
Yeah.
just wasn't sure.
You have to look
Yeah.
at the dates.
Told me to
But
ask
you have to
him.
look
I
at
think
the
it's the same as
election,
when
yeah.
we're doing, like when we did some ballot proposals and stuff.
So then not to, well, I guess we'll probably need to discuss this a little bit more, but then how does that impact how we're going to do the seats for 2014?
No,
So then
we
does
could-
that get us closer to when those seats come available?
When you put a person in there, it would
It'd be
go
a
to his
partial
term.
Okay,
It would only go to his term, just like
Okay.
it did for Teresa.
Teresa, yeah.
okay.
So whatever term and time his date was originally up, that's what it would go
So
to.
then it would still be for 2014.
Would it be an election or appointment?
No,
That's what he's
That's
saying,
why
that he
it's
wants
fall.
to,
Gotcha.
It would be an election, not
Right.
an appointment.
Right.
he wants to have it as an election and not
Gotcha.
as an appointment.
I
Now, with that,
Now, that's what, right, but that's what I'm wondering, if it's an election, then does
Because-
that impact how the board seats are done? So
Well-
then that
Good.
should probably be an
Because it would
additional
just be a
question.
partial term election.
but can you do that without changing the bylaws that say the board appoints?
That's a
Right.
good question to ask.
Yeah.
Gary
Yeah,
King.
yeah, so I'm not-
Very keen question.
that would be a board decision though, right?
Yeah, guess we'll find out. Okay. Mrs. Beard?
The only thing that I have is, I was in the preschool committee meeting with Cheryl also, and they're doing a lot of good things for the kindergarten roundups. So I'm encouraging parents, if you have a little one that's getting ready to go to school, April 24th, I guess, is the kindergarten, is it the orientation days? Roundup. So on April 24th, you can sign your little one up then. On a special education note, I attended 2 conferences this month. I went to the Council for Exceptional Children in Grand Rapids, and it was a very good conference. There was a lot of people from the Michigan Department of Education. A lot of the special education rules are being they're being revised, but they're being basically just being brought up to standard with the federal regulations. Those are the only changes that are happening. It's just the wording, and so that they're comparable to those to the federal regulations. And if you're a special ed parent, you can get a copy of your administrative rules, and you can get a side-by-side copy. They'll print them out and mail them to you. And you can go to cenmi.org and either contact them by phone or by email, and they'll do that for you. And it's just good to have a copy for your reference. And then the other conference I went to was the Michigan Transition Services Association, which is for students 16 to 26. That's the population that it affects. A lot of good information. It's just difficult, like I said, for a lot of the school districts with the funding issues that we're having, but a lot of districts are doing some real creative things as far as creating community experiences for their students so that they can get, especially the more, I don't know how to term it, the more disabled or more affected students can get training for job skills and community experiences, and they're doing all kinds of things as far as working with nonprofit organizations and becoming community partners with businesses in their community, allowing the kids to come into those businesses. And they're working, they're not earning a wage, but they're learning skills. And it's building good community partnerships with these organizations. So I'm hoping that maybe Romulus can maybe attempt to do some of that too. We're keeping our fingers crossed, so. But there was a lot of good information there, and I really enjoyed it, so. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Beard. Mr. Cooter?
Yes, a couple things. One, I'd like to congratulate all the coaches, coaching staff, and all the boys for their efforts they did in trying to bring home the trophy. I've seen a few of the games, and they were pretty good. They were very entertaining, and a lot of the student body themselves talked highly of them. Another thing, I'd like to congratulate the 4 winners of the MASB Awards, but unfortunately I will not be able to attend the recipient of them because that is my 25th wedding anniversary, and there would be another vacant seat if I went to that. And third of all, Mr. Weiss, this is for you. Could you I don't know if any other board members, or if you could send us an email, give us an update on some of the concerns Ms. Williams had about the video or DVD with the students and this treat issue. That seems to keep coming up, and I don't know if you found closure on it, or if you can tell us, or if you want to email us or what, but that has come up about 3 times, and I just.
I'm glad you asked it, and I'm sorry Mrs. Williams left, but every time that she has brought that to my attention, I've explained a couple things to her. There was no district direction for, she's made the statement, just for those of you to refresh your memory, that students were offered treats in exchange for taking a video for them, and this was a year ago,
Right.
home, and that then those students never got treats. I've checked with our principals. We're not aware of that actually happened in any of our classrooms. Each time Mrs. Williams has asked me about it, I've asked her to tell me what teachers, where did that come from, what building, what teachers, so that we could kind of get a handle on that, because we want to make it right. But she declines to give me the information, so that's kind of where we are. I don't know what else I can do to rectify the situation, other than, as I said, it was not the intent of the stakeholder committee or the district administration or anything else. We wanted to get the word out, and we encouraged teachers to help us get the word out, and some of them kind of took matters into their own and thought they were doing the right thing. Nobody was really intending on, depriving any children of anything.
So she hasn't given you information on who's, the
No.
ones that allegedly have promised this?
No, in fact, Mrs. Williams asked, she dropped a letter off last week. She wants some additional information on how some of our grants are funded and some other things, and that was in there too. And
Okay.
as part of my written response to that, I will include that request once again.
Great. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Well, I was at Hill Creek on Friday, and I got an opportunity to read Fox and Socks, which is
A good book.
it's a good book, but more, I tell you, my tongue was in knots afterwards, to Ms. Prisco's second grade class. And then they also, after the reading, they presented me with Shel Stilverson's The Giving Tree as a gift, and they autographed it. They're little cute signatures inside. I want to show it to them when they become 25, 30, they have their own kids. I'll show them their signatures in the second grade. But, it was really very nice. And we actually got to read a second book, which was the Foot book. And actually, they ended up reading the book to me. So that was pretty cool, too. But I had a really good time with those second graders. And then I got an opportunity to come home and watch the game on the internet. And boy, I tell you, that game was electric. It was electric from, I think I tuned in around about the third quarter, and it was just, I was on pins and needles, and oh no, you would have thought I was at the game. And so, and all the way down to the buzzer when they did that 3-point shot at the end, and I was just like, it's going. Oh man. But they played exceptionally well from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And so I just wanted to say congratulations. Although we didn't walk away with a victory, you're victorious in Romulus. So, just want to, it's always another year. I know for the seniors it's probably a bit disheartening, but, you can't take away the type of season that they had. The amount of wins that they had this season alone. They ran circles around some of these school districts, and so I just wanted to say congratulations to the staff, the students, the families who, made sure that those players stayed eligible, and, it was just an all-out effort to just, basketball brings us together, and I think that that's definitely one of those things that kind of, knits us together. My next thing is pretty soon, Project ACE. I know you've probably heard a little bit about them. That's our access for college education, and they're looking to set up what they call some community teams, where they have stakeholders be a part of being part of that vision to kind of mold and shape what that post-secondary option is going to look like for our students. And so we'll begin to do actually interviews within our educational staff and within our community on people who would be interested in actually being a part of a committee for Romulus. And so they're really helping us kind of really craft and mold and shape what our post-secondary vision is looking like. And so it's coming along, and some of you might be getting some phone calls for an interview. So and if you like to be interviewed, that's even better, because then that means I don't have to look. So just let me know. I have a deadline near the end of April to actually have those interviews completed. So that's chugging right along. And I think,